Hello! Oh my god. I don't know why I'm so excited. Okay, alright. First of all, I think we have a whole bunch of apologies to do. But also, I don't know if we need to. Nobody's listening anyway. We are in 2024.
Welcome to 2024, everybody.
Welcome to 2024. It's what a wreck, to be honest, of 2023.
2023 was messy.
Yeah, we started this podcast and then we just nosedived. Well, I did. We have an episode that still is in process. So I don't know if we should post this one first and then the other one. What do you think?
I think we should just tell everybody we went on holiday. Because that's what we did. Because we all deserve some downtime.
We do. I mean, I didn't really. Did we go on holiday? We basically stayed in the same city.
I left the city, but it rained.
Yeah, I just went to bed and stayed there for a while.
Which is good.
Yeah, I think it was like a month. Anyways, it's fine. Moving on. Oh, I do want to say, I am drinking sparkling water out of this little thing. So if you see me, I'm not drinking vodka. I don't know why I feel the need to say that. I feel that people are going to look at this and think, what is wrong with her? And it's still daylight. We're not crazy yet.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, that's true actually. It's almost 5 o'clock here. It's like 3:13.
Yes. So
specific. I do, sorry.
Sorry.
You would have started and I'm like, no, we're still in our intro. I want to introduce this. This is from an amazing friend from the Middle East and part of some years where I lived in this country. And no one seems to.
That whole sentence didn't make sense. Do you want to try again? You wait till you play that back and hear that sentence. That whole sentence was like. Okay, let's try that English again.
Alright.
Okay.
Okay, never mind. So, my friend, who is a beautiful human being inside and out and all over the place, and she's more than a friend actually. I don't know why I'm like, it's not a friend, she's more like a sister, she's family. Well, the only one in the Middle East that likes me right now. Anyways, we both grew up together in this country called Oman, and nobody seems to know what it is, or please, I beg you, just Google it. It exists, I promise. But anyways, they drink coffee. So I'm drinking coffee out of this little cup, and this is what they drink coffee out of, which is fantastic. And I will give you one, but I'm sorry. I don't know.
I don't drink coffee.
Oh yeah, we can put tea in it or anything. Tea. I drink water out of this now. I drink everything out of this. I don't look how tiny it is, but
it's beautiful though.
Well, cheers.
Cheers
to 2024.
2024. This year is going to be our year. I can feel it in my bones.
Okay, well, good for you. The other thing we've upgraded, well, I mean, look at us being so fancy with our technology, is look, we have a microphone. We have one that works, the other one doesn't, and then I gave up. Poor Jen had to deal with me being like, it's all right, I can sort this, kind of. And then you asked me 10,000 times, should I buy a mic? I'm like, no, it's okay, I got it. I don't got it, but it's fine.
But that's fine.
Yeah.
And we're in a new location.
Oh, I forgot about that. I moved, guys. Well, I didn't move. Me and I didn't move by myself. Anyhow, long story short, we are in a different location.
We are in a different location.
This is why the background looks like this. There's basically nothing, because there is nothing in here other than a couch and some exercise equipment and maybe a bed, shoe cabinet we just got yesterday, but.
Living the dream.
Yeah, I mean we have light now because the other place we did not have any sunlight and it was like living in the cave.
No, so there's a lot of natural light here.
Yeah.
It is wonderful.
Yeah, so I don't need to buy vitamin D anymore. I'm just sitting in the corner crying, starting off 2024 right.
2024 is going to be good.
Yeah.
What you put in is what you're going to get out.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see. We will go back to this moment at the end of 2024.
2024, and we'll be like, 2024 was just a write-off of a year.
Yeah, we'll be like, it's a train wreck.
Yeah.
So it's at the end of every year. Okay, so shall we get into it?
Indeed.
Okay. I find that word weird.
Indeed. It is me. It is I. Indeed.
I feel like you're very into the. Is it Shakespeare or very old English? Like
Truth be known, one of my flatmates is very, very good at English and old English.
Is she a writer or is she? Like...
Yes, she is a writer.
Okay,
and
nice.
she's very good at old English. Me and her have this little banter where we speak like that because not many people speak like that.
No.
So yeah, that's where that comes from. Is me and her bantering.
Okay. Well,
yes.
I will banter back. Kind of.
Good.
Yes. Okay.
Good. We shall.
Indeed.
There we go.
High five.
Woohoo!
Look at us go. Okay, so
And you thought 2024 wasn't going to be a great year.
I forgot how much we try to get into our topics, and we spent like 10
Oh.
years going around in circles.
But that's what you guys like.
Well,
Or else you wouldn't come back.
It's only 2 people here, so I don't. Okay. I'll feedback 100%. Okay, thanks guys. Okay, cool. So today's topic is actually. So I was having a conversation with a friend. I would not identify because maybe friend is like, how dare you? They probably won't. They don't even know about this podcast. Anyways, they said something about, we were talking about, what were we talking about? Growing up, I guess, and in the year that we were growing up, certain ways of being as a person in terms of your image. And that would be in the 90s.
Yeah.
So born late 80s or kind of early 80s.
Sure.
Okay. Okay, so
Early 80s.
Oh,
yeah.
we weren't born in the 1920s, okay? Let's just put it that way.
Indeed.
It's, okay, Shakespeare. So anyways, we were born in the era where you were growing up in the 90s.
Yes.
Is that accurate?
That's accurate.
Okay, good. It was along the lines of where growing up in the era where you had magazines.
Yes.
Everything you wanted to watch had to be on TV and you had to follow the program. If you missed it, you missed it.
You missed it.
You missed it.
Yeah.
It was the talk of town and you didn't know how to have this conversation. You were not cool anymore.
You couldn't rewatch it. You couldn't go back in time. You had to be right there.
Exactly. And so things like, you know, the models that you saw, things that people would wear, things, the way you present yourself was very, I mean, it still is. But I feel like just being here in this city, it's not as prominent as it was growing up.
No, growing up, looking back now, things were very superficial.
Right, and also I feel like I don't care anymore. I do care a little bit. Sometimes.
I think that comes with age. Maturity, and also realizing that there is more to life than, you know, what you look like.
Right. I was just going to side note a little bit because this is probably what came around to, hey, this is a topic to talk about. Have you seen that TV show, Why Women... Without using the word...
No, I haven't watched it.
Kill. You should watch it.
Yes.
It's really fabulous writing, I think. Well, my humble opinion. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed season 1 was beautifully written, and it, not to give anything away, the timelines, because you were following different storylines from, I think it was like 60s or 50s, and then from the next era would be like 70s, I think, 60s, 70s, and then the next one was 90s to like nowadays, like 2012 or something along those lines. Anyways, that's season 1. Season 2, it has one timeline though.
It follows a timeline, so you were watching one. There was season 2.
Season 2 is just one timeline, so it's a story about. Focus on the main character, which is this lady who is a housewife, and then she wants to be part of the cool circle. And back then, the cool circle was this garden club. Go watch it. It's fabulous, but it really is an accurate display of how much pressure it is on. I'm sure that the males and guys and people who identify as male have that pressure as well now in this generation, but not so much back then, or at least maybe it was different.
I think, maybe it's different, because I
think so.
I think there is still a lot of social pressure and visual pressure in this generation coming, but there's also a lot more acceptance, I feel, that we didn't have when we grew up. Like, we, it is so inclusive of almost all body types nowadays. Whereas back when I grew up, it was like you had to look like this, and that was it.
There was no, what do you call it?
There was no in between. It was like you to be beautiful, you had to look like this.
Yes. Okay. So starting with that one of the things that I was really insecure. So I think, well, it'll be easy to just talk about what we were insecure about because of the, not feedback, but like the pressure or the type of, let's just call it what it is, bullying. Being bullied for this and this and being told certain things about yourself that's not true, that you take on and believe it to be true. So one of the things that I really struggled with, and maybe you also struggled with, was hair, body hair.
Yes.
But literally from head to toe even, let's just go there. Growing up in spaces where, so I grew up in Asia for a little bit, up until 10. From 10 to 19 or 18, around those ages, I was in the Middle East. Very surprising. It's not Asia, but maybe, I think Asia, but Middle Easterns are hairy people, man.
Yeah.
We're hairy people, let's just admit we're hairy. And it's so surprising to think like, this is who you are, but be treated horribly because as girls you had to have hairless everything, except unless it's on your head, basically. And even if it's on your head, it has to be long and luscious and paper thin. Do you remember?
Yes.
Having to straighten hair, and it comes
with an iron, because we didn't have hair straighteners back in
no.
those days.
I think they used hair dryers. Have you ever used a hair dryer to do it?
I have now, but when I was a kid, we used to just I used to have hair down to like my waist.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Down to my hips.
Okay.
And I used to just lay it out with an iron.
Yeah.
Like on the ironing board, and then just iron it.
Should have done that.
Absolutely kills your hair. Don't do that.
Don't do that. But back then, dealing with the stuff that is trying not to get picked on and bullied or looked at as if you are the ugly kid.
Yeah.
So and even with the body hair, it includes facial hair.
Yes. I
had awful eyebrows, and I mean, you're young. Like, why do you want to make young people feel like they need to pluck their eyebrows and having like a little mustachio? I mean, come on, we're human beings. Like, it's okay to have facial hair. It's okay.
It's 100% okay to have facial hair.
Yeah.
But I was teased as well. I used to have a full monobrow.
See, I cannot see that. And you know what's really interesting with the monobrow, I was going to say, is just now it's in fashion, actually. There's a lot of, if you ever watched America's Next Top Model, whatever top model thing, it's a thing, I think. In one of the episodes, at some point, I'm sure, maybe I'm making it up, maybe it's a different show, who knows. But now hair is such a thing of, it's hair, it's great. And I remember having, even when I moved here, so this is like the western side of the world now, I'm a person, even it's hard to admit it, but even though internally I feel that I'm a lot more relaxed about it now, either because I'm matured or I'm just tired. So I remember both males and females pointing out how much arm hair. Side note, we know. You don't need to tell us.
No.
We know. You don't have to point it out. If you don't like it, go away.
Exactly.
But I just want to say that, things, for example, I look at my legs and go, oh my gosh, it's been a while. And there's a little part of me that comes up and remembers the type of teasing, the type of pointing. I was told that no one would ever love me because I have hairy legs, which is not true, by the way. It's not true. Some cats will love you.
I remember shaving my legs. The first time I shaved my legs, I must have been, I don't know, maybe 10 to 12. Because I'm on the opposite side. I have hairy legs and hairy arms, but and a hairy face, but it's all blonde.
Right. Yeah.
So when you're looking at me, you kind of can't see it. When I'm in the sun, I'm like a disco ball, and you can very much see it.
It was good timing, but I love it. Disco ball. I love it. That's so cute.
And
that's good, Jen.
I look like I've been covered in sand, like golden sand. And I remember the pressure of having to shave my legs at school because I was getting teased about having leg hair. Whereas now I'm like, that should be the last thing that you're thinking of when you're like 10 to 12 years old.
Exactly. And it's such a young age to be worried about something like that. Like, you should be just living life. Being a kid, you're still a kid. It's 10, 12.
Yeah.
And it's really sad. And it is really, what's the word? I know we're talking about it as if it's, can't formulate sentences today. Talking about it so casually, but just know that it's okay. Like, for them, when you're in it, it's really stressful. It's really horrible. It's really devastating because you feel isolated. You feel like you can't be part of a friend group or people want to invite, or like, okay, I'll give you an example. Even now, till this day, when I haven't shaved my legs properly, or, you know, you're kind of like in that growing out phase, and you have a group of friends that want to go out to the beach, and they're all in bikinis and whatnot, and you don't have to wear a bikini, you can wear shorts.
Yeah.
It's just that you look down at your legs and you go, I can't do this. And because you still have a lot of that stuff from the past, like, coming up, and I think when I express this part to people, they easily dismiss it and they go, for example, it's happened more than once to me. And I remember even being asked to go to the pools, for example, and I would say, maybe not, maybe next week, so I can actually, you know, shave properly or whatever. And it still affects some of the things that I want to do, but in a way of, like, what am I trying to say here? This is really hard. So basically, it's like, I still feel it, even though knowing, you know what, it's okay.
You still feel the impact of it. What I can tell you is, if we went to the pools now, I haven't shaved my legs. It would not put me off going to the pools.
Okay. That's so good. Yeah.
Again, I'm different boat though. I have blonde hair.
Right, yeah.
So it's not as noticeable. But I think we've had that impact on us for a very, very long time. That hairless is the only way forward.
Yes.
And that hair, not having any hair is a mark of beauty.
Yeah.
And you do feel those pressures all the time. Yeah. And it's quite funny because I've had conversations with men, and men are like, oh, well, you do what you want to do, like, you know, whatever. If you don't want to shave your armpits, don't shave them. If you don't want to shave your legs, don't shave them. And I'm like, cool. And I'm like, oh, so you would date a girl that didn't shave her legs and didn't shave her armpits? And they're like, no.
Yeah.
They're like, no.
Yeah.
So
because they are also influenced by what they're watching, what they're seeing.
What they're watching and what they're seeing.
And a lot of the things I think back in, you know, the 90s, in the movies and magazines, or anyone who was out in public was hairless completely if they were wearing short skirts or, you know, swimsuits or things like that. And they had, you know, paper thin hair that was super straight. And I think if you didn't fit that mold, you were ugly straight away. And so you feel there was this shame thing around it. And then
there was shame around having like thicker eyebrows. And now look at us.
Oh yes, thank you for
because we
bringing
used to draw eyebrows on.
Oh my gosh, thank
they
you
were
for
skinny.
bringing that up. Yes, exactly. I remember that. And I wasn't allowed to make any changes to my body, which in hindsight, okay, we have some tips. I'll give you some tips. You don't have to shave your whole eyebrow off, but I wish I was able to do a little tweaking here and there, which wouldn't have, it does not break your face. If you trim a little bit of your hairs, it'll grow back. If you have thick dark hair or thick blonde hair, if your hair is thick and it grows like crazy, you're gonna have a surplus of it. Don't you worry. It's okay to trim a little here and there.
And again, we're talking about our own ethnicities here. Like I can't speak for anybody else's, but I have very, very thick hair. As soon as my hair's
Yeah, and just because it's blonde doesn't mean it's not easy to manage. It's still, a lot of it is still there.
Yes.
So I think that, here's a little story actually. Maybe this will help. Maybe it helped me. I was invited to a housewarming, and it was a small gathering, so we're not talking like 20 million people here. We're talking like less than 10. We just were hanging around in a small space, and one of the girls invited, didn't know her very well, and she was wearing a nice skirt with a nice top, just hanging out. And I think it's because I walked past, I was looking down to make sure I didn't trip on people, as you do, and I noticed she didn't shave her legs. I noticed her hair were blonde, maybe because it blends in more, but they were grown out, and I was so impressed. I wanted to honestly give her a medal. Like, I wanted to thank her for how much of that made an impact on me in that moment. It was showing me that it's okay. Like, I do understand, yes, okay, maybe she felt more comfortable because she had blonde hair. It's not as out there. But I think the fact that she did that, I think it's so brave. And I see more and more younger girls, like, when I mean younger girls, I mean younger than us. So even if you're like 30, you're still a younger girl to us. And that's what they're doing now. Like, they wouldn't shave their legs as much. Like, you wouldn't see completely hairless. You might find some, yes, but also on the other side. And I also started doing that because I started feeling more comfortable in my own skin, because I know now for a fact is that it's not that, what was the part where you were told that you're not beautiful because you have no hair on your legs?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? No. I'll do it again.
Okay. You're not beautiful because you have hair.
Yes. Okay, that was what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
But actually, that's not true. And people will tell you this, they'll point to the magazine and show you all these models. That's not what normal people look like. That's airbrushing, that's Photoshop, that's them waxing and shaving and doing all kinds of things.
Yeah.
That's not what a normal person looks like. Normal people have hair. Hair is so normal to have.
It is very normal, and but it's also been ingrained into us that it's not visually pleasing. So I think it's amazing that we are now having the courage to just be ourselves and just accept our body hair, and we all have our things.
You're right. Exactly. And I think just to end this section about hair and stuff, whether it's on your head or wherever, a lot of places.
It can be everywhere.
Yeah, and I think some parts where managing it, for example, when you grow up in a place that's really, really hot and humid, you do have to manage it because it causes issues with your skin. So I've had that happen. I've had a lot of things which will go down the track, and so it became now a health hazard.
Yes.
So shaving, trimming, and grooming wasn't because, hey, this is what the world wants to see, but because if you don't, your skin is going to go crazy and you might get eczema or like skin conditions or other things that happen that might lead to surgery. If you know, you know. I'll tell you later. Yeah. But so just to go back on that, if you feel like you really need to do it because you're still in that phase where you're going to school or college or work or wherever you're going, and you feel like you still need to manage your overgrowing hair in the climate that's, you know, hot or whatever, or not, to make it easier, you can use little tiny clipper scissors, like, you know, the ones for your nails. Use that on so you comb your eyebrow up and you can snip a little bit to make it even. And thick eyebrows are in, so this should be okay. But also Google all the videos. Don't mess up and cut your eyebrows in all kinds of places. It's also easier, rather than tweezing and plucking holes in your eyebrows, don't do that. Put the tweezer down, put it down, and it's like a blade, so it looks like it's a long stick. At the end of it, there's like one single blade on it. If you Google, give me a moment to Google, eyebrow shave or face shave for women.
Famous shapers or something.
Yes.
I've got them.
Yes, exactly. Oh my gosh, you can find them in a little. What did I find? This is
They're like dermaplanes.
Yes, but it's got like a single blade. You can use that to shape the eyebrow a little. So if you've got hairs on your forehead, don't shave your whole forehead. Just shave around it, and that will make your eyebrows look neater without having to use threading that you don't know what you're doing with, or plucking holes in your face and having to cover it with eyeliner.
Or if you feel comfortable, don't do anything.
Exactly.
So it's about you feeling confident in yourself.
Exactly. But I think I'm saying, like, if you're still stuck with bullies and people being like, hey, you got eyebrow hair, because I wish someone told me this when I was young. I guess in, okay, you don't have to do it. I'm not saying you have to, but here's some tips in case you feel like you need to. Because I felt like I needed to. And in that moment, I wish I did. But anyways, moving on. We're old now, so it's okay. This girl told me, just shave it in the shower. And I looked at her like, what? I don't even know how we got to this conversation. And her mom gave her this tip. And it's like, you use a shave, and men's blades are meant to be for facial hair. And you can just dab a little bit of, I use conditioner, and just shave it off. No one's gonna know. And it's really easy.
Can we just do a side note on
of course, go for it.
pink tax and how women's shaving blades tend to be ridiculously priced because it's for women, and also how much better the men's cut. Like all of my razors that I have are all men's razors.
Oh,
because they cut so much nicer than the females.
Yeah, and I think it's the pink tax, and also I keep going back to growing up in the 90s or that era of life where they still think women's hair is so soft and delicate that they need like a little shave here and it's all no. I need a lawnmower on my face. Can we just? Can we not?
Can we just do that?
Yeah, but me too. I use men's razors. They're a lot, and they have more blades. They've got the 5 blades, whereas women you've got 3. Now added extra blades. You have 3 instead of 2.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. So watch out for that. That's the other tip. Use men's gears. Like, it works really, really well.
It does.
Yeah. And if you feel like you don't have to shave your legs, I use I think it's a trimmer. So that's what they do well. So one of the brands that do women's shaves is actually a trimmer.
Yes.
So if you don't want to shave all of it off, you can still trim your leg hairs with it.
Yes.
And it makes it look like the hair, rather than it being super long, it just makes it like a little bit, so it's not as noticeable, and you're not shaving it off completely either if you don't want to go down there.
Yeah.
And it's something that makes it easier to manage if you really feel like, you're in that space or that phase in your life where you still have to work with what you've got.
Yeah. And remember, there's also plenty of options as well. You do have plucking, you do have waxing, you do have laser. You have all sorts. But the thing that we're trying to get across is be comfortable with what you want to do.
Exactly. And it's okay to let it grow.
And that it's okay to have hair, and that we all have hair.
Yeah, everyone has hair.
And it comes in various thickness and colour and
length.
And length. And that having hair is fine.
Exactly. It's very normal and it's beautiful. You are beautiful. Okay, so do we want to go on to the next part?
Sure.
Okay, so the next part I got here was about facial structures, like how your face look and how symmetry is such a big thing. So basically, beautiful people are considered beautiful because they have symmetry.
Yes.
So one side looks exactly the same on the other side, but when your nose is here and there and this is happening and that's happening, your eyebrow fell off
Or like me, you try to shave your undercut yourself and accidentally took off half of your eyebrow.
Oh my god, what? I did not know that.
Yeah, I did that like 6 months ago. I was like, yeah, and it was like, oh my goodness. But that's okay, it grew back.
Yeah, oh god. Yeah, see, hair, also, okay, back to the other one. Hair grows, right? It will grow back. So in case you make a mistake, don't worry, it will grow back. Your eyebrows are beautiful.
Oh,
there you go. You grew
I have glasses, so 9 times out of 10 you don't see them anymore.
Oh really? Did no one notice when half of it was gone? So good. Love it.
But symmetry, yes,
symmetry.
symmetry.
Yeah. What was some? Is there what insecurities did you have around your facial like structure or how it looks or how it was placed?
I think for me, I've always been very, very blessed with somewhat good symmetry of my face.
Yeah.
What I didn't expect was when I was younger, I still have it now. I have really, really good skin, very clear skin. I used to be quite a petite girl. I even went to a modelling agency. And
look at you go.
Yeah, I was banging.
You're still banging.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
And I remember them asking me at the modelling agency if I could do 2 things, and then they would sign me. And I was like, what is that? And they wanted me to remove all of the moles from my face. And I only had a couple, but as I grew older, like I've got a lot more. And they wanted me to pin my ears back because my ears were too big.
Oh my god.
And I didn't. I looked into getting the moles cut off my face, so I got really, really insecure about my moles. And then good old Cindy Crawford came along and she had 1 mole, so I was like, oh,
go Cindy,
Cindy, having that 1 mole. But I was always very insecure about that and very insecure about my ears. My ears stuck out and I was so insecure that I never wore my hair up.
Really?
Like even for sports, I never ever wore my hair up. And that has followed me probably up until like 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh my god.
I would always have my friends say like, we never see you with your hair up. And then, you know, one day after a breakup, I cut my hair short, I got an undercut.
Oh wow.
And that changed everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, those were the things. And you can't change the moles on your face, like you can cut them off, but then that would create scarring.
Oh.
To which then you would have to put more makeup on to cover the scarring.
Yeah.
You know? And children, like, at school can be so cruel. Like with my ears, I was always called Big Ears or Dumbo.
Yeah, it's like, oh my god, they're so cruel when they bully and they really come up with some really messed up names that will stick with you for a very long time. And I think if you had any markings that's not something that they have, or like, you know, you wouldn't see on TV or in a magazine, like the moles, for example, or like pimples. Pimples are another big thing where people had acne and you know, they would be made fun of for it. Whereas I remember having I don't know what it was, it might have been dyed, I'm not sure, but I had spots on my cheeks and they were like discoloration basically, but it was so prominent with also having acne as well. And it's just people will point, and just the bullying and the name calling and all that kind of things that will, you know, it does grow with you as well. But learning that these are the things that some of them it's just like uncontrollable, like it's there and there's nothing wrong with it, and it doesn't make you ugly, it doesn't make you a horrible person. In fact, it's who you are. And it's you know, I remember someone I lived with and she had a mole as well, and a lot of people, everyone would say to her to remove it, and I loved how strong she was in it and never did. And she's absolutely stunning human being, like beautiful person inside and out. And I love that there's a lot more people now, well, not now, but even back then, that was still standing strong in who they are and how
Yeah.
they looked and how they presented themselves. And I think, what was the other thing? Teeth. I struggled with teeth.
Oh, I have
And-
terrible teeth.
Do you have terrible? I think your teeth are great. They
I
look-
only have half a mouth full of teeth.
You do? Well, how?
I'm missing all of my teeth from here back. I've only got one side I can chew on.
Okay.
I got terrible teeth. Doesn't matter how much I brush them.
Okay.
Doesn't matter what I do with them.
Yeah.
I just have terrible teeth.
I have terrible teeth too. That's good to
But you know, teeth. I remember teeth having to be white.
Yes, it had to be white and little, and it couldn't be. Especially, I have prominent front two teeth.
Mm-hmm.
One of them was broken. Long story there, and yeah, I was never able to get it filled or fixed. I wasn't able to go to a dentist. Like, and then more stories going down that path.
Dentists are expensive.
This wasn't a price issue. Well, I mean, this even if it there was more stories there. Anyways, it's more of a human issue. Let's just put it that way. Moving on. So I had to live with horrible teeth. Well, in my mind, it seemed like the worst thing, and I saw myself as the ugliest thing on the planet because if your teeth weren't straight and they weren't little, you were automatically considered ugly. And I look back on photos, and it blows my mind at how mean people can be about these things. And I mean, if you feel like you need braces, go for it. That's all good. There's ways to get them. There's ways to it. It is expensive, and you know, it's only a couple of years of your life, and it's something that you really want to do. Go for it. You can do like a payment plan, budget it out. It's totally all good. And I think also on the other hand, it's okay not to. It's fine. You don't need to have perfect teeth, and it looks okay now because it's cameras, but. But also, I feel when I finally moved to New Zealand and I had more say in my own body and rights and all this kind of fun stuff that people should have, that, you know, I was like, okay. And that was even years later that I thought, oh, maybe this is something I would consider doing. And I got fillings, so I'd have some fillings. And, you know, and it's just at the end of the day, as long as you're looking after your teeth, like you're brushing them, you're not eating a bunch of candy and going to bed, even though you do it, it's fine, it's okay. Because it's not fine, it's okay doing it all the time. I've done it. Just look after your teeth.
We all have,
Yeah. We'll have lazy days.
I would say,
It's just lazy
if I
days.
could tell my younger self anything, it would be go to the dentist more.
Mm.
However, the dentists here in New Zealand are very expensive.
Very expensive, yeah.
Going to a dentist, particularly after you've finished school, because it's free during school.
It is expensive. I agree. I think shop around for some dentists, have a talk to local ones, explain your situation. Don't be afraid to. I started doing that, I think, and talking about my concerns, because I did go through a phase where I really wanted to change my teeth, and I saw, you know, you have your moments like we talked about before, that it will come back up again. You start to feel a bit insecure, but there was ones where I was still very, very insecure about my teeth, and I wanted to get Invisalign, and of course I can't get it. I have a very small jaw, but I went to the dentist, like orthodontist or whatever, and I explained to them, and I think going through that process was enough for me to be like, hey, I just want to quote because this is how I'm feeling.
It's something that's annoying you long term.
Yeah, like I think
It's
that's
something
annoying.
that's
Like it's more like impacting
Yeah.
and hurting, but for the reasons of being not just teased or like, you know, considered not beautiful because of it, and being showed from the, you know, stuff that you're consuming that makes you feel like you're not beautiful because you have funny teeth. And I was really honest about it. I was honest about the price range that I was, not price range, I was honest about my finances at the time. So yeah, like, and thankfully I did go and get that done, because of course they're like, oh, we'll do a check just in case, because, you know, I hadn't really been to a dentist, and she was a very, very experienced lady, and she found something wrong in one of my other teeth that I had to get fixed, and if I hadn't, I would have needed to pay for surgery about $2,000 to fix it. But because she caught it early, it was only like a few hundred, which is still a lot. And you can talk to them about payment plans. You can talk to them about
Yeah.
your situation. A few $100s is a lot, but it's better than 2,000. And I was able to tell them, like, this is what I can afford. Let's talk about some weekly plans if that's possible. But yeah, it's just being honest about it. And I think just going through that process and making the decision that, you know what, it might not be considered something that's socially acceptable back then. Yes,
Yeah.
it is, you know, something that impacted me back then. But now, you know what, I've come to terms with it. And,
Yes.
and I'm fine. And I'm okay with it. And people love you for who you are and not how big or where your teeth are sitting.
No, and it's the same with me. Like I wear my hair up now. I wouldn't cut my moles off unless it was required. So melanoma or something like that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't get my ears pinned back anymore.
Yeah. Good. I think the other one that I felt quite insecure about, it's actually a lot of stuff on my face. Because growing up, if your face wasn't smooth, like this isn't no which is, no one has that. This is all editing. This is all Photoshop. There's even with the filters that we have now, everyone has texture, like the under eyes, like people have bags under the eyes, but
wrinkles,
the
pores,
yes, the
crow's feet.
Yes.
So
My head, all I could remember was for some reason. Yeah, so and the shape of my nose as well. I remember like just someone pointing out my nose shape at some point, and I never felt bad about it until someone pointed it out and said it was crooked.
It's funny how you don't feel insecure about something until someone points it out. Like the other one that I got pointed out early on was I have no forehead. Like if you look at the size of my forehead, and it's really, really evident sometimes when I try and wear like caps or hats, and there's just no forehead. Or when I first got bangs, and my bangs
just like half of a face.
Bangs look weird on me, so you won't see me with short bangs. But yeah, like I literally have no forehead.
Oh my god, I wouldn't even have noticed. Like, wouldn't even have point. I didn't even. That wasn't a thought ever in my head.
No, honestly, whenever I bring it up, people are like, "Oh my gosh, yeah, you don't." But up until that moment, nobody thinks about it.
Yeah. So there's some parts to it where, from the facials part, that people won't notice until it's pointed out. But also those people who point it out, honestly, if they point it out in a rude way, in a mean way, in a bullying way, you don't want to have a bar of them anyways. And also, people do that because either they're projecting or they're insecure about themselves.
A lot of projection going on.
Yes. And it's, you know, it's not about you. And also when you grow up, like things change a lot, not just in your body or even your facial shapes and
hormones, just getting older, weight loss, weight gain.
Yeah. I was just going to say, sorry, because I did forget about the hair part, where I was one of those kids that had white hair early. And I know now, like eyebrows, white hair is cool. It's in fashion.
Well, it is in fashion now, yeah.
Right? But imagine growing up and being called like an old lady at your early teenagers. I'm talking like, I wonder if it started from 17. I don't know for sure. I can't even remember. Or probably, I distinctly remember 18, 19. It was massively white, like chunks of it white. And that's okay. That's fine. Like, it's color it, don't color it, it's ignore them. Like,
but it's funny how that makes you want to color it. Like, my natural hair color, I've been dyeing my hair ever since I was really young, because my natural hair color is like a dirty blonde.
Okay.
And that dirty blonde, no matter how much you wash it, looks like it's dirty, which is why they call it dirty blonde.
Right.
Because your hair always looks dirty.
Oh, yeah.
And I used to get teased about it all the time. So I started colouring my hair, and I've never stopped.
Oh,
I've never stopped colouring.
Yeah.
I haven't been my natural hair, like a full head of hair, natural hair colour, for such a long time.
Like, oh wow. And even see with names like that, like dirty blonde, why is that a name?
Yeah.
It could be like a darker blonde, blonde, darker blonde. Why is it dirty blonde?
I don't know. That's what it was called when I was younger.
Oh yeah, it's still.
I don't know if it's still called that now.
Yeah, I'm sure people would still call it at some point, but yeah, it just goes to just along the lines of it's okay if you want to color your, because I color my hair, and that's fine. But I think the growth part of it is that you are okay with your natural hair and how you naturally facially are.
Yep.
And then you do those things to like either color the hair for fun or color it because you like it, color because you don't want to.
Because you want to express yourself.
Yes, it's a self-expression is different because you're trying to hide yourself.
Yes.
And I guess the learning here is to remember that you are beautiful however you are. Just the way you are. You're totally fine. You're totally beautiful.
You're unique. You're one of a kind. Unless you're a twin. Then I suppose you're not one of a kind.
You still are. Personality and
personality-wise.
Character. Facial, you might. I mean, some twins actually grow up and look different.
Yes.
Have you seen that happen?
Yes.
With identity. Yeah, it's interesting. Or you could continue looking the same forever, but you still have something that you go, yeah, that twin is a little different from that twin. Like I think if you see twins often enough, you'll start to notice there is.
100%. And it also comes down to people, right?
Mm-hmm.
The more people see you as a wonderful human being, the less they see you physically.
Yeah. Yes.
That's why you can be with your partner for such a long time and they can change weight and like you may you don't notice because it's them.
100%.
It's not the body, it's them.
Yeah. It's the person that shines through. It's your character. It's the energy that you're bringing when you meet people or like you're in a crowd. When you're with people, basically, Yes, it's okay to have your moments. You can be frustrated. You can be upset. But if you're bringing love and light and just beautiful energy, that beauty shines through. It really is. Like, it sounds like crap, but it's not. Like, it really is. The next thing that I wanted to mention in terms of image and just growing up in that world of trying to look perfect, but you're not perfect, or all that kind of whatever, is, I don't do this very well today. No English in 2024. So it's body image. Like how your body was shaped. Like how did you feel growing up? Like what were some of the things that you were insecure about because people teased about it, or because magazines and movies and all these things were showing you this is the ideal body image, when actually it's not. It's every body is a perfect body. So
to give you an idea of the type of models and stuff were around my era, Kate Moss was at her highest, and our bodies were supposed to look like Kate Moss's. And I have nothing against Kate Moss, she's probably a nice person. I don't know her. Anyway, when I was young, I was very, very skinny, like very skinny, but I had big hips and a big bum. And having big hips and a big bum was not in fashion at all.
No.
Like
nothing.
At all. I remember being young and wanting to get my hips crushed. They were performing surgery where you could get your hips crushed, and that would make everything smaller. So I was this real skinny girl, like really skinny, and I would get teased because I was skinny. I would have people yell at me all the time, being like, you should eat some food, have you eaten, you're anorexic. And I wasn't. I was eating and eating and eating, but it got to the point where I got a complex about the size that I was, and I was so skinny. Like I remember one of my ex-partners, who fair enough did have huge hands, he could literally wrap his hands around my waist. I was tiny.
Wow. Yeah.
I was tiny, but with big hips and a big butt. And like, yes, there's fat shaming, but there's also skinny shaming as well.
Yeah.
And being taunted because everybody thought that you weren't eating food and you were eating.
And there's some horrible things. I've also been told stories from, you know, friends that were walking, minding their own business, and being yelled at out of a car to, you know, eat a burger and all that kind of things. I think it is both ways, whether people look at you like you're...
Whether people are yelling out, eat a burger, or stop eating.
Yes, like I've heard some people can't even eat in public because of
the judgment.
Yes, exactly. And I think that's absolutely horrible, and especially growing up in that era where, like you said, it was models, supermodels, or even actresses or musicians, and they were all flat stomach, barely any curves, and
no boobs. It was called, by definition, it was called like a heroine look.
A heroine look.
Yeah, it was like a junkie look.
Oh.
Because you were so skinny, so up and down.
Yeah. Like so flat with. And I can see how that is, and it just causes a lot of issues for a lot of people in eating disorders. Like, it's really harmful. It was such a harmful thing, which is really sad, because especially, I don't know, I'm pretty sure it happened to males or people who identify as male, but back then with girls, my goodness, it was such, you could not have a tummy. You could not.
No.
You know, I was called fat, and I am a very short person with curvy on the top, curvy on my legs, and I got made fun of and called fat and ugly, and it was really, when I say that now, people are very confused because they didn't understand how back then, even if you had a little bit of like, you know, curves wherever it was, even on your thighs or something, you were automatically fat.
Yes.
Whereas in reality, that's not. And then you see yourself in that light, and you grow up and you have this image of yourself in your brain that the world has told you, and therefore you don't feel beautiful, whereas actually you never seen yourself for really who you are, like as in your body is what it is.
And you got to remember, like, we were a generation of magazines, so we were seeing a lot of airbrush magazines. All of the models, you have Victoria's Secret models. But you also think about the interviews that were happening at that time. Like, you go back on the younger stars, I mean, like Britney Spears is a classic.
Oh, yeah.
And the amount of times that she was interviewed, and instead of people interviewing her about her music, it was about her body
image. Yes, that was so rude. Okay.
Her body
That's
image,
a good point.
and that's the same with actresses. You know, they're going in with a new movie, and everybody's like, "Oh, so how did you fit into that cat suit?" But this is the stuff that we were watching on TV as kids, right? Is the whole fact that it doesn't matter how amazing you are, and this was with sportswomen as well. It doesn't matter how amazing you are. The interviews would always end up based on weight or looks or you know, so we have had years and years and years of this conditioning, like years of this conditioning, and that has also impacted on us later in life. Like, I can be 100% honest with you guys, I'm not 100% happy with my body. It is what it is currently, and it's a work in progress. But I also sit back and I go, how much of that is due to the conditioning that I had when I was younger of what beauty standards were then?
Thank you for opening up with that and admitting it, because I think a lot of people are afraid to admit it to themselves and say that even out loud, and that they're not, and it is a phase, like they're not happy with how their body is right now. And I think I do go through that as well, and there's phases where you're like, I'm okay with how it is at the moment, and then I go spiraling down and thinking that, I should lose weight, or I should gain weight, or this and that, and one of the things I ask myself is, where is this really coming from? Is this really, in some moments it really is, I don't feel good in my body because I don't feel energetic, or I don't like how this looks, but is this coming from where exactly? So it's really trying to break it down and pinpoint, is this coming from a voice that has been amplified from years and years of teasing and just, growing up in that generation, and or is it because I've eaten bags and bags of unhealthy food and junk food, and now I'm like, actually, let's work on some exercise, or let's do more activities, or you've been sitting down for like a month and you haven't done anything, with your body. So it's really narrowing it down, like, where is this, whose voice is it here? Is it really yours, or is it?
But also, like, what is it? Like, what is it for me? So why am I not happy? And really peeling back the layers. Because the one thing I love about the here and now is that there is so much body inclusivity, that there are women who are proud, there are women who just have confidence oozing from them. And that's what I really love about the here and now, is that it is so much more accepting to be who you are than it was so many years ago. And that's not negating the fact that people now still have a tough time. That's not negating that. But there is a lot more body positivity now compared to when we grew up. Where when we grew up, you had to look a certain way.
I think fashion played a big part of that as well. So it was the clothing you were wearing, and I remember that was a time where, I don't know if this was 90s or early 2000s, where it was the low-rise jeans and the crop. So it's just that combination.
Late 90s, 2000s.
Oh my gosh! So if you weren't the ideal body type, you couldn't even wear the kind of fashion.
No.
And then you were not, considered a beautiful person or a cool person, or like in the crowd, or whatever it was, because you didn't have the ideal body, but also you were not wearing what was in fashion either. Because I remember that, I feel like now it might still be a thing, but not as much as it was before. Because I remember growing up, and oh my goodness, if you weren't wearing low-rise jeans, or jeans of any kind, or jeans that were in at the time, like, don't leave your house type of thing. Just live in a cupboard and never come out until you're 40 or something along. That's how it felt. But that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. I think those moments where I was told that I wasn't invited, not that I was ever allowed to even, story for next time, but anyways, I was told that I wasn't invited to places because I didn't wear jeans, or I couldn't wear jeans, or, it was along those lines, because you can't wear this, you're not invited.
I mean, I had something similar. So I did fashion and design when I was younger, and I thought I was going to be this big fashionista. And then I realized that I couldn't make a lot of money very quickly. Like,
it's a hard one.
It's a hard one, and hats off to all of those wonderful designers that make us beautiful clothes. But at school, I used to make my own clothes, and I used to wear a lot of things that were maybe a little bit more out there, and I was teased. I remember watching fashion shows, so we would be in a different season, and I remember the first time I saw sort of like PVC being used, so the shiny black material.
Oh, is that what you call them? PVC?
PVC. I can't remember. Polyvinyl. Something right.
Okay.
Anyway, I saw that fashion coming well ahead of time.
Yeah.
And I created myself a whole PVC suit. I had PVC pants and a top.
Nice.
And I created it all. And I remember going to school and everybody saying to me, "Ooh, look at you, you're wearing rubbish bags."
Oh my gosh.
And I got teased for being like homeless and just being covered in rubbish bags. And then lo and behold, 2 or 3 seasons later, everybody in the
Yes.
school was wearing it.
Yeah.
And by that time, I had completely changed what I was wearing.
Oh, that's
But
so
I was always the weird one.
Yeah. And it just goes to show you, I think, just learning from that story though, that being who you are and sticking to who you are is like, how do I put this into words? Where do you see how people try to push and pull and change you because they don't understand it and because they're not
They want
like
to put
that?
you in a box.
They do, but also it's projecting because they didn't come up with it. They don't have that skill or talent. And that's okay. They have other skills and talent. And I think a lot of the things I want to say about what we talked about today is a lot of it is projection. It's a lot where people have not seen in themselves what they're seeing in you.
Yeah.
So they're seeing your talent, your skills, your beauty, the difference that they're pointing and laughing at is the stuff that's your superpower.
Yeah.
And that's
sure.
what makes you the beautiful, talented, strong person that you are. That is your superpower, and hold on to it and tap into it and grow it. But people want to suppress it.
Yeah.
Because either they're scared of it or they don't have it without realizing they have their own superpower.
For sure.
They're just too busy projecting or
comparing.
or comparing. I think comparison and social media really exploded. And I know this is a whole topic for another day where social media does a lot. It's basically your constant magazine in your face telling you.
Yeah. And the thing is social media, like everything's curated, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're not seeing the worst of people up there.
Mm-hmm.
You are seeing pictures of people. They could have taken 100 pictures and they've picked the best one.
Yeah.
So it's not an actual representation of what's actually happening with people.
Even though, like, not to call out, I'm not saying this to call out, but the no makeup shots, when you get those, some people go like no makeup day and they look really cute. Know that they would have taken a lot of photos before
they do that.
They found the cute one, or they were like, oh, I like the pose. It's angles and lighting. If you know
angles and lighting, game changer.
Yeah, so I think it's people who are skilled in that area of posing or where to put their face. So just know that even if they are no makeup, they look beautiful because they are beautiful. That they're using what do you call that? Like skills, techniques.
Yeah.
Techniques is not the skills. Like they're using techniques with the camera angles, with the lighting, with where it's placed, like how they're moving. Like there's a lot that goes into it. It's not just point and shoot.
No.
Is what I'm trying to say. Like, so along the lines
and the amount of filters people put on as well.
Yeah, completely. It's all, I mean, even in a video, it's all editing. And I think once you understand how these tools work, you'll start to understand, oh yeah, it's just editing.
Yeah.
They can make it look really, come on, we live in a generation where technology it's fire. It's fire, and it's really powerful, and that's what people are doing. And so don't feel like you have to look like this or look like, you don't have to. You just have to be who you are, embrace it, grow, learn, use what you've got, because the world needs that.
Yeah.
It needs that individuality, or it needs like that, if you've got a body shape or a face like everyone else, it needs it. We all need how we came into this world.
We need you.
Yes.
That's what we need.
It sounds like an advert, like the post. We don't, not that poster thing, but in a nice way, we need you.
We do need you. We need everybody to be their authentic selves.
Yes, I love that. Oh, hit the nail on the head. We need you to be your authentic self and bring to the world your love and light and superpowers.
Because you're amazing.
You're amazing.
And don't forget that.
Yeah. And on that note, shall we end this episode?
We should.
Yes. I hope it really helped. I think this is a big one. I don't know, how do you feel about it? I feel like it's a big one because I wish someone had told me all this growing up in each phase, the phase of the young years, phase of like the teenage years, phase of the young adults, the phase of that you're an adult but you're kind of not getting it just yet. And today I'm just like, you know what, I'm tired, it's fine, we'll shave tomorrow, it's okay.
And I think that's definitely
Yeah.
I've lost my train of thought.
That's okay, you're fine. It's been a while, but also we're very hungry. Do you know what? If there's any commenters that want to say things like, I don't want to call it advice, it's not advice, but give your experience, or things that, what would you say? What would you add to it? Tips, tricks, anything, just something that could help someone else that are experiencing any of these things. Please comment below. Please make this world a happy, joyful space to be in.
And you know what? We need to support each other, and we need to help each other.
Yeah.
And we need to be more kind and more understanding, and also love each other's bodies, and spend less time judging and more time accepting.
Yes, less time judging, more time accepting. I have to really think slowly in my brain. So when you need fuel, by fuel I mean food, and by food I mean coffee. All right, okay, so this episode, the first one of 2024 is
welcome.
Welcome and goodbye.
And bye. Have a good night.
Good night, guys. Have a good one, and we'll see you next time.
See you.